Utah County couple has pleaded guilty in a $500,000 fraud case. New legislation helps ensure accountability and stiffer sentences in the most extreme instances of child abuse. And your weekend weather forecast with highs, lows, and everything you need to know for the days ahead.
You're watching St. George News at 5, brought to you by our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law.
Good afternoon, I'm Monica McLaughlin. A Utah County couple has pleaded guilty in a $500,000 fraud case tied to a St. George ammunition business. Carly Elizabeth Winters and John Earl Donaldson admitted to federal wire fraud and money laundering charges after prosecutors say they scammed nearly $600,000 from clients through their company, Urban Arms. The business falsely claimed ties to federal agencies and never delivered large orders, including gear intended for Ukraine. Winters will be sentenced in October and Donaldson in September. Utah State Senator Don Ipson has been recognized for his role in helping pass a groundbreaking law that creates mandatory minimum sentences for those convicted of torturing children. The new legislation, fueled by local leaders and heartbreaking cases, seeks to ensure accountability in the most extreme instances of child abuse. Let's take a closer look at how this law came to be and the cases that sparked it. Utah lawmakers have passed a new bill that strengthens penalties for one of the most disturbing crimes imaginable, the torture of a child. This year, the Child Abuse and Torture Amendments became law, creating a new first-degree felony for child torture with a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years. The goal? To ensure longer prison time for extreme abuse. The bill was inspired by a high-profile 2023 case involving Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt, where two emaciated and injured children were rescued from an Ivins home. Prosecutors were only able to charge them with second-degree felonies. That didn't sit right with Washington County Attorney Eric Clark or Christy Pike, director of the Washington County Children's Justice Center. Together, they launched a year-long effort to fix the law.
So we're going through the process and trying to come up with clear definitions, making sure that Utah isn't looking soft on child abuse, and that we're sending people to prison for as long as I think if you go up to someone on the street and you say, hey, how long should a mom or a dad get if they do X, Y, and Z to their kid? A lot of people are going to say, well, they should never see the light of day again. And so we needed to get closer to that.
Pike says the need first became clear in 2017 after a case involving a Tokerville mother who locked her own son in a bathroom for years and watched him suffer through a live camera feed. Like the Franke case, it only brought a 1 to 15-year sentence.
I am appalled that in this world we need this kind of code. It is beyond words. And this is a finger in the dam. This doesn't even go to prevention. This is just about charging. There is so much work to be done in terms of prevention, in child abuse prevention.
Sponsored by Senator Don Ipson, the bill passed despite concerns over rising incarceration costs, since longer sentences can mean higher expenses for housing inmates over time. But lawmakers agreed the accountability was worth the cost.
Well, I can't comprehend it, and I think that the law needs the teeth in it to one, prosecute the people for these heinous crimes, and two, maybe if they know there's some consequences and they're pretty severe, they may think twice about treating their children that way.
The law is reserved for only the most egregious abuse cases involving prolonged harm or neglect. But advocates say it's already making an impact, not just in the courtroom, but in how Utah protects its most vulnerable. Read the full story by Cody Blowers on stgeorgenews.com. Now let's take a look at your weekend weather forecast, brought to you by Casablanca Resort and Casino. In St. George, it's currently a sunny 100 degrees with tonight's low dipping to a mild 71. Saturday will bring highs near 102 and lows around 71. Followed on Sunday by a high of 105 and a low of 73. Over in Mesquite, it's 103 now with a low of 78 tonight. Expect Saturday's high to hit 107 with a low of 77, and Sunday will be slightly warmer at 109 and 81. Finally, Cedar City is seeing a pleasant 85 degrees with tonight's low at 60. Saturday should warm up to 90 with a low of 58, and Sunday will top out near 92 with a low of 60. No weekend storms in sight, just heat and sunshine. Stay cool, drink plenty of water, and enjoy your weekend. After days of uncertainty, Pine Valley residents will be allowed to return home Friday morning as the Forsyth Fire, now at over 10,000 acres, continues to burn with 8% containment. Emotions ran high at a Thursday night briefing where officials praised firefighters and warned of hazards ahead. One resident whose home survived spoke through tears about loss, gratitude, and survivor's guilt. For more on the return and what residents can expect, we turn now to Eric George Gould.
Residents of Pine Valley got the good news that the evacuation order due to the Forsyth Fire has been lifted, and residents can return to their homes as of Friday morning at 10 a.m. Community members gathered to hear the news and a briefing on current conditions Thursday night at the Central Fire Station. Here's Tyler Monroe from Great Basin Complex Incident Management Team 7.
You are going to be going into a Pine Valley that you have not seen before, and we recognize that. It's going to be a little emotional for some of you. We want you to know that our folks have been working very, very hard to get you back to your homes.
Residents were cautioned about safety as they return to Pine Valley. For more on that, read the story. This is Eric George Gould reporting from Pine Valley.
From parades to pyrotechnics, Southern Utah is ready to celebrate the 4th of July. But with extreme fire danger, officials are urging safety and awareness. Fire restrictions are in place across the region, limiting when and where fireworks can be used, especially near dry hillsides and federal lands. Several cities have designated safe zones for personal fireworks and are hosting public displays.
Fireworks are a big part of Independence Day and Pioneer Day celebrations in Utah, but can pose serious fire risks, especially during the ongoing drought. Federal, state, and local fire restrictions are in place to prevent wildfires, 85% of which are caused by humans and are preventable. Fireworks are always banned on federally managed lands, including national parks and the Arizona Strip. Utah's Stage 1 fire restrictions prohibit fireworks on all unincorporated private and state lands in several counties, including Washington and Iron. Illegal fireworks in Utah include skyrockets, Roman candles, firecrackers, and anything over 500 grams. Legal fireworks can only be used during specific windows in July, New Year's Eve, and Chinese New Year's Eve. Cities across Iron and Washington counties have designated areas for fireworks use. While Cedar City, St. George, and other cities are hosting public shows, personal fireworks use is limited to marked safety zones. Check online for your city's map or website for legal fireworks zones and celebrate safely. To learn more, read the story by Maury Kessler. This is St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. To learn more about our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law, go to wewininjurylaw.com. I'm Monica McLaughlin with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5, brought to you by our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law.